And hello, everyone, and welcome to this new SandStorm Meetup show. Today, we are joined by AwedJob, NikkiFuego, and Canessa. Welcome, all three of you.
Good
Hello,
morning.
hello.
Hello. For anyone who's wondering, we are currently, so today we are doing the contest number 13 results show. What are these results show about? We have been granted funds to operate and conduct different contests on a monthly basis for the Decentraland DAO. The goal here is to give creators an opportunity to shine, create new assets, and create cool things for Decentraland, learn how to get started in this virtual world. And this is exactly what we'll do today. We will first introduce a couple of key creators in the creator economy of Decentraland, which are those three beautiful people that are below me on this visual exactly. And in the second part, we'll go over the contest results as always. And of course, big shout out to the Decentraland DAO. Good evening, Canessa, Nikki, and AwedJob. Who wants to start?
Why don't we go in order? Let's do ladies first. We'll do Canessa and then Nikki, and then I'll go last, left to right.
Okay, let's do it.
Put you on the spot, Canessa.
Good evening, Canessa.
Thank you, AJ.
How
Well,
are
good
you
morning.
doing?
Good morning. It's still early on the West Coast. I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. It's awesome to be here and look at these wearable submissions and see what everybody came up with.
So cool. What are you up to today, these days, Canessa? What is up in your life as a creator in Decentraland? What are the news?
Oh, then like just building however I can. So if it's 3D modeling or putting stuff together on my land, wearable, like creating for wearables is like I aspire to that. That's my next goal, but it's actually so much more intimidating than just like building in world. So I've been trying to create, different scenes for my land. I've been using building actually as like an accessory for my fashion. So I
building as an accessory for your fashion. That's a very interesting statement. I want to dig deeper on this.
Yeah.
What exactly do you mean with this?
Well, I started with kind of like a cyberpunk outfit that I wanted to, have like a background so that I wasn't just standing against a wall. So I made I learned how to animate in Blender and then put that, kind of together. And then for the next scene, I had a dress that had a heart on the back of it. It's the Chrome Hearts dress by XR Couture. And it has actually like a series of hearts. And so I thought, where would I wear this? Like, it's cool, but I can do better. So I actually, with Scott, I built a tunnel that I could stand in with my avatar and then have a series of hearts that would move as I was standing there. So when I stand in the middle of it wearing that heart dress, it actually like adds to the dress, the wearable itself. So it was pretty cool to see. And,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome to hear that you were able to do this sort of layering in a way, right? So cool. What about you, Nikki? What are you up to?
Hi, I am just working on Fashion Week for next week. I've got my own fashion show that I'm doing, so there's a lot of running around with that, making sure that it's good to go. All the models are coded and everything. And yeah, I just finished up my skins that I'm going to release. And yeah, just like I said, preparing for the crazy week that's ahead.
That's so cool. And I'm so glad you are here because it's the first time we see you on a SandStorm show. So I'm sure a lot of people are very curious about who you are. If you want to introduce yourself in a couple of sentences.
Sure. So I am NikkiFuego. I'm a wearable creator for Decentraland. I'm also a game maker. I'm the founder and creator of Roomway, which is also a grant recipient from the Decentraland DAO. And yeah, I just have been creating wearables in Decentraland for over a year now, which is really freaking crazy to say. This last year has literally flown by. And yeah, I'm just here trying to build the future with some amazing people, some talented individuals, and just growing my skill set every day.
Nice. What is the thing you're the most proud of, the work that you think about when you've done so many wearables? I'm sure there has to be one.
I would say that in comparison to like I take Fashion Week very seriously. It's like my favorite pillar event every year.
You do?
And just because I love fashion so much and I love seeing everybody come out and show us what they got and what they're inspired by. But what I'm most proud of is the growth. So last night, once I got done publishing my collection, I kind of sat it next to my collection from last year, and I just feel like as an artist I've evolved and I've learned so much and I've grown so much, and I've like been able to take everything that's in my head and put it into a tangible form. Even though it's virtual, it's still tangible. And I'm really, really proud of this fashion show. I've been working on it for a few months now, and I just hope everybody enjoys it, and I hope all the designers that are showcasing in it feel great, and hope it just gives a new experience to everybody.
That's so cool. I think I'm really looking forward to these like kind of modern metaverse shows and how they will look, because I think you can do so much with the absurdity of the metaverse and what it allows you to do, right? The freedom.
100%.
So I'm very excited to see what you've got hidden here. I noted your point about evolution as an artist, and I think all three of you have had some form of evolution in your life. I think AwedJob last time he went through his entire journey as well, and I'm sure you went through a lot of evolution steps.
I will be brief this time. I don't have to go all the way back. No.
Nice to see you, AwedJob. How is it going?
Yeah, well, I just gonna warn everybody. Anytime you invite a teacher up to talk, you're teachers can talk, man. I get paid to talk. That's like my secret superpower.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked to be here with Canessa and with Nikki. I'm just it's such an honor. And I love this community, right? And these are members of the community out there working hard, and I can't go a week without interacting with any one of them. Either asking them for help or offering them, just hey, talk to this person or advice or whatever. So hats off to the other panelists, to the other judges. So thank you so much for that. And just to finish out real briefly. Lately, I've been working on what you see me doing here. So this is an emote that I created for Dollhouse. It's called Oh Snap, and that's been on the market for a couple of weeks. And then this is the first one in the collection that I just released, a collection of 3 different emotes. So this is Running Man, and then there's Drive and Dance, and then this last one is called Feeling Myself. So yeah, those are all legendary emotes. They're on the market right now, and super proud of them. I've got a couple more coming out. Hopefully I can get them done before Metaverse Fashion Week, because during Metaverse Fashion Week I'm going to be giving tours. I'm focusing mostly on the East Asia community, so that's like 9 a.m. UTC to 2 p.m. UTC, which is like 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. for me. But I've done that in the past. I've gotten up at like 3:30 in the morning to give tours to our friends in Asia and East Asia. So it's a global community, right? So we need to adjust our schedules accordingly.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is a really good comment you made, because I myself have a lot of different teams that I work with, and when you have a team where one person is working in Thailand or Philippines or whatever, one person in Europe, and then one person in America, it gets really difficult to find a proper time where everybody can be on a meeting
to coordinate.
I definitely feel your pain, 100%. So cool. I think it would be even nice to do something that we never did before, where maybe some of you, I think you shared the different assets that you built, and maybe Slater, you can show up the assets on the screen and then they can do a run through of how they did it. I think that would be very interesting to do. So Slater, I know you might be panicking now just in the background, so I'll let you some time. We can talk about the topic and then we can do that just after. So Canessa, I'm so happy to have you here because you're also one of the OG creators in Decentraland. How long have you been doing this?
Actually, this week is my anniversary. I found a picture
Wow.
of my first build that I made on March 28th, 2019. So it's 4 years this week.
Let's go. 4 years. Can you imagine? 4 years in Web3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, back then I didn't even call it Web3 and I didn't call it the metaverse. It was just a virtual reality world. Like those other cute, like, keywords, they weren't getting thrown around. It was just like, I don't know, I'm just building and I'm having fun. I don't know what Web3 is.
Isn't that so funny that we went kind of full circle? So we went from virtual reality world to metaverse to now going back to virtual worlds because metaverse is just such an aggressive statement.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's been cool just to see like at the beginning just building for the fun of it, not trying to make money, not trying to do anything else, and now I'm back to building for the fun of it.
Peanut butter, get your ass over here. Come on, get in the picture, get in the shot.
Oh, he is here. Let's go.
Peanut butter's here.
So cool.
He's
nice to
off
see you.
stage left.
Oh no.
Oh no, I saw him. I totally saw him. Where did he go? Oh, he's running around.
Exploring the build. Okay,
Yes.
okay. We got it. That's so cool. Canessa, about your evolution, maybe a couple of things. Can you give us one anecdote of a moment where you realized, oh my God, my art changed? Because I think, you don't really notice the change until that one moment where you look back. Did you have such a moment?
I think like recently, just kind of, I've been trying to learn Blender, and I've been telling myself like, oh, I can't do it. I'm not smart enough. I didn't go to, school for 3D modeling. I'm not a artist like that. And then just slowly learning small things. And then finally being able to put them all together. Probably actually like one day in FAFO and CBD, we were all sharing our screens and it was all quiet and I thought everybody was AFK. So I just started showing off like, just for anybody that was listening, like some of my scenes, and KJ Walker had been muted and I thought that she was AFK. And then she like typed in the chat, like, Canessa, I like your builds. And that right there was like, wait, what? KJ, I thought everybody was AFK. And to me, she's, I don't know, I just really look up to her and think that a lot of the stuff she does is just amazing. And so to have her say that about my measly little builds, I was like, oh my gosh. I felt seen. So it was cool.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Hey, welcome back.
Oh my God, this show. I'm so sorry. Sorry, I misclicked on a button. But yeah, I heard your entire take, Canessa.
Nice.
I'm so sorry. I feel so
No
bad.
worries, no worries.
What about you, AwedJob? Can you connect with what Canessa just said before?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, it's one of the central components of the CBD space, right? It's the community coming together to create, and try not to get into alphabet soup, but like CBD, that's community building Decentraland. Canessa mentioned FAFO. Can I use 4-letter words on this show? I always forget.
Yeah, of course
Okay.
you can.
Okay, so FAFO means fuck around, find out, and we hold FAFO sessions twice a week. We're looking to expand it to 3 days a week. So what
Nice.
you were saying earlier, OSCOM, about like going through a wearable or a build and just sort of breaking it down. There's a podcast called Song Exploder. Have you heard of it? Song Exploder. Anyway,
not sure. No, I don't think so.
So yeah, they just take one song, and then they invite the artist on, and they invite the producer, and they invite the sound designer on, and then they go through how they came up with that finished song. So going through that creative
Interesting.
process, I think is really powerful. And we did a little bit of that today. We're talking about creating a commemorative wearable for everybody in the community who comes to CBD, Community Building Decentraland, who hangs out in the fuck around find out session. And we were like, well, how many triangles do we have? So we've got Nick Reyes is a like the newest person who's hanging out in CBD. He just released these glasses. Let me see if I can put them on. And we're just talking about triangle count and you know, what you can get away with. And so we remembered this backpack that Billy T-Coin wears, and I said, I think it's in the hat category, which is limited to 500 triangles. And I'm like, okay, so apparently this is 500 tries. And then Brandon came in and he's like, oh, well, here you can go to the forum, and then you can click on the, you know, whatever. He took us through the path, and we were able to download that file, because what a lot of people don't realize, not only is Decentraland a DAO, right? It's community governed, but it's also open source. So all of the files that I submit to become a wearable is a GLB that's publicly available to anybody. So I was able to download that file, bring it into Blender, look at the UV map, and see how this backpack. Canessa, do you have the link for that? Can you put it in there for OSCOM so he can go check this out? Because it is an engineering marvel.
Grab it, yes.
In a 512 by 512 texture map, they were able to texture this entire, it's a hood and a backpack. There's a cat, there's a mandolin, there's a fry pan, there's a knapsack. There's just so much in this thing. And to be able to go in together in the FAFO session and just kind of break that down, it's that collective knowledge that I'm sure I've talked about before. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's only through being in community. Yes, that's it right there. It's only through being in community that it's
so beautiful.
Here, try it on. Try it on. And just see how it moves, right?
Wow.
Because it not only is it amazing, but you can do all these emotes, and it doesn't, you know, there's no clipping, there's no pass through.
Wow.
So there's over 3,000 triangles.
Wow, it's beautiful.
So that's
who did this?
Oh crap.
The Flying Vice.
Flying Vice, yeah, and they're not in Decentraland anymore. So what we're trying to do is we're going to summon this person back. We want this creator to come back to Decentraland, because don't you want to see more wearables from this person?
Of course you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you're going to have like
That's so
you know,
cool.
in your competition, today's it's about making a specific kind of model, but maybe you have a competition that's all about UV texture mapping. Get Flying Vice on to talk about how they created this. Actually, get Nikki back, or Doki, or KJ. I mean, all three of those are just masters of texture mapping low poly models to make them just look supremely real.
And I think people don't appreciate the work that's put in this enough, because really, when it comes to low poly, and you all understand, but for anyone who doesn't know, it really comes down to not only optimizing the file so that it's playable in a game. That's basically the role of low poly. If you reduce the poly count, it makes it easier to load in a game, and it makes just a better performance. And especially with those open worlds, you need to have better performance because it's at scale, so you need to load a lot of different assets. So that's exactly the reason why we do low poly for Unity based games. So now this is a really good example where basically you can do assets in low poly very easily, but to put really high quality assets in this format is really difficult. And that's where you see the mastery in those little details. And that's why it's so awesome that, like you said, I didn't even know that you could download files just once they are uploaded. And that's such a good thing. I will test a lot of files out just because
it's
I would
a great way to
love to see how
learn.
those are done. Yeah, sure.
I encouraged it. My students in my classes, I say, you know what? If you're going to copy, go right ahead, because until you have that strength of understanding the direct decision path of how to create something, you need the structure. You need you really only can learn like one thing at a time. So by copying something, maybe you're learning how to do UV texturing. But if you're not copying anything, then you also have to learn how to create the texture, how to apply it, you know, all those things. So if you just download this and then start moving those vertices around on that texture map, you can really begin to understand. I mean, this is superb low poly model that's very well texture mapped. Download this and start fucking around and finding out how they did this, break it, and then try to put it back together again, right?
Nikki, what are your thoughts on all of this? We talked a lot with AwedJob just now, but on low poly, the difference with high poly and how you manage to adapt.
So that's been the biggest challenge being a creator in the 3D world is the low poly, just because, like they said, the limitations are so low. However, I do think that it's made me a better artist because I'm able to problem solve. Like, that's one of my best skill sets is solving problems. And it's come through really well when making these. And with the piece that Doki and I made for Fashion Week next week, I modeled that. That's the first model that I've made in high poly. And then she retopologized it to low poly. And basically I was able to put everything that I wanted and envisioned in this concept into reality. And then just was able to, like I said, she taught me how to retopologize, but she did all of it on this piece. But you basically just remake the mesh on top of the low poly. And then you're also able to what they call bake the high poly details and stuff into the, which I can switch to the skin and shakes. That's easier to show than it is to explain it. But there's some like details that you can't get in low poly because of the tri limits that you can bake from a high poly. So like this piece that I just switched to, on the back, there's like these tubes that come out, and on the high poly, those were 3D, but on the low poly, we baked them on. So it's kind of flat, but it still gives it that detail and that high res feature. And so it really taught me a lot because I was like, okay, wow. So I really can make whatever I want. And as long as I learn how to retopologize, then I'll be fine. And, you know, like they were saying, there's some ways that you can get around some of the limitations with hiding certain categories and stuff like that, and really optimizing what you're putting out there. But yeah, overall, I think it makes everybody a better artist. And just imagine, like, if we learn how to do all this stuff in low poly now, 4 or 5 years down the road, when everybody's doing like ultra high poly, we're going to have an advantage because we're going from the low all the way up to the high, and we've already got the basics down. So I love it.
I read a really interesting debate recently on Unreal and how all assets look the same in Unreal, and like how all these, it's like kind of the Unreal look, that's how they call it. And I found it so interesting to see that we can, you know, with AI and with everything that's happening, you can optimize and facilitate building all you want. You can import assets from everywhere. You can make the building super quickly, but you will never take away the touch. You will never take away the emotions that come with building something from scratch. And I think I loved what you just said with, you know, if you work in constraints, you're just getting so much better and so much more creative. It's just how it works.
And AI actually helped me kind of evolve as an artist, because I am not an illustrator. I can do graphic design, like vector art and stuff, but I cannot draw worth anything. I don't know why. I can't. I've tried. And so when Midjourney came out, I immediately bought it because I was like, I need help visualizing my thoughts and putting my thoughts onto like real drawings. And with this piece that I'm wearing right now, I put in tons and tons of keywords to spit out some things, and it spit out some amazing pieces, and I just combined them. And I would have never been able to model something like this without that inspiration and that assistance from AI. So I think AI is an amazing tool to not only like help optimize time, but also help optimize your artwork.
Yeah, for sure. And one more thing I would like to say about AI, it was also interesting for us because until now, when you worked with clients that had no clue about creative processes, you had no real way to get them to do like concept art, right? And so it was interesting because we saw with some clients that they were starting to use AI to get the concept art that they wanted, and then they could basically provide us exactly, you know, some ideas or concepts that they wanted, which also created issues because then their expectations are way higher than, you know, they would have been normally. But it's just an interesting new use case and like a new kind of situation. What about you, Canessa? Did you improve a low poly? How did you work around those constraints over time?
Oh my gosh. I mean, low poly, like so 4 years ago when I started in the builder, because that's pretty much where a lot of people started, because the SDK, you know, it was like a giant leap over a giant grand ravine to get to that. So in the builder, oh my gosh, you just had to get creative, because back then the builder did not let you resize items. And so you couldn't just use one little panel. If you wanted, like I made a castle for the 2019 build contest, and I wanted to have that castle with bricks. I couldn't just resize and restretch them because it didn't have the feature to resize things. I had to get, sit there and just place brick after brick after brick. And so I think a lot of like the old builds, you just had to get smart and work around that. I literally had an Excel spreadsheet that had the triangle count of every asset in the builder back then. So I could go in there and I could look, and it was, like I had the pictures of each rock so that I knew if I wanted to use a rock in my scene, don't use that one. Like there's one rock that has just a phenomenally high amount of triangles to it compared to, the lower rocks. So like in my old builds, you'd see me using like the same tools or the same, same assets quite a bit. And so now, like graduating into Blender, I'm like, what do you mean I haven't met my triangle limitations? I still have room. Like I feel like a kid in the candy store because I can just keep adding to it. And so I really suggest like anybody that wants to build on a one-piece parcel in the builder first, because it's gonna make you a smarter builder, and then you're just gonna go nuts when you're in Blender because you can do so much compared to that. But I think that makes you a better builder. And it makes you a better problem solver.
Yeah, there's also something about like really mastering something and then seeing the tool itself evolve, right? So I'm sure creators that started on Blender or we're very, very early in the space. I think AwedJob, maybe you can comment on this. People that started on Blender, you saw the technology advance, and you saw the technology slowly, fix those problem points and fix step by step. And I think this is also so powerful because if you know 90% of it, then adding this one extra step is way easier than, now where you have like this entire giant software and it's way more frightening. So yeah, I definitely think if you were in Decentraland just as a parallel from the start, you saw what was possible back then and you see what is possible now. And it's just, your mind is blown when you just look back. AwedJob, do you have any comment on that specific thing?
Yeah, it's with increased complexity, right, comes you can go one of two ways. You can't be a generalist anymore. You have to be a specialist, and I think that's a good thing because it means we need to rely on each other, and it doesn't matter what technological advancement we get to, we still need to be able to talk to each other. We still need to be able to mediate and have a discussion. So like Nikki was talking earlier about her and Doki like collaborating on this piece and each working towards their strengths. And Nikki's using Midjourney, and I know CK Bubbles released a dress with DigiFun. And they used Midjourney too, or DALL-E, or something like that as an assistive technology. So it's like, try not to like, what is going to be a better use of Nikki's time? Spending time going back and trying to learn fine pen and ink illustration, maybe, or Nikki could use this other tool, and Nikki could collaborate and work with Dr. Drip or Doki or somebody else. I think that gets us forward faster. I think that gets us to from idea, from concept to completion much faster. And having these complex software packages or whatever, it's like I like having something that's really powerful and open source, that is Blender. I've never touched the grease pencil in Blender, and I come from a traditional animation background.
Yeah.
So it's like, just because it's there, I don't have to use it. But yeah, I still think that specializing, following whatever that what do I want to say, that inspiration, right? Finding that inspiration and then just going to see how far deep down the rabbit hole goes, and you come up with wearables like what Nikki has. I haven't seen anything like what Nikki produces, right? I mean, that
I
is,
agree.
it's so novel and
Very
so
different.
unique, and because of the tool set and the people and the community and the collaboration that is possible in Decentraland and in the Web3 space, she's able to give life to things that just haven't even been imagined, and that to me is the most exciting component about it.
100%. And I do want to give a quick shout out to, because I see DJ Tracks in the chat. So quick shout out to DJ Tracks. You're doing an awesome work. Decentraland, always happy to see you around. And hello to Jurik Mesquita and all the different people that are on the show today. Welcome. Nikki, how was it to collaborate with Doki? Was it a new thing that you did? Did you ever collaborate before? What did you learn in that experience?
So Doki and I work together a lot. She is one of my closest friends in this space. We met back in January of last year. She was a new artist that came onto the platform and was having some issues and was posting about it in the Decentraland Discord wearable chat. And they were similar issues that I had faced. So I reached out to her, and ever since then we've been really, really close. And we collaborated the first time last year's Fashion Week. We created what we called the Ocean Peaflow, which was kind of like a teal dress, but it was kind of like more like Asian style. And it was kind of along the lines of a kimono, but not really a kimono. And yeah, we did really well with that one. It was really, really fun. I learned a lot then. And then this year it was even better. I think because both of us have grown so much over the last year, this year was easier to work with each other because we know each other well enough to know who's going to excel in what area. And I mean, if I'm being honest, Doki could have handled the whole thing by herself because she's just that amazing. And so it was really, really an honor to work with her. I love doing anything with her. And it's just easy, you know, like I don't know how to explain it. Like we both get each other. We both know like what we're going to like and what we're not going to like. Whenever we disagree on something, it's a very quick fix. Like we know how to meet in the middle with some of these things. And I would have never been able to get the texturing that she got because she is like a texturing goddess. Like she knows how to do so many different types of baking with ambient occlusion and stuff like that. And it's just a dream to work with her. I love it.
Yeah, I watched some of her stuff and I was very, very, very impressed by her workflow and just in general how much she produces and how high quality everything that she produces is. So yeah, definitely an awesome creator. I mean, alongside you, of course. I do want to open a new topic now. And the new topic is the power of emotes. Canessa.
Yes.
Emotes. What do you have to say about emotes?
I love emotes. I never came into Decentraland thinking that I would be creating emotes. It's so I kind of pinch myself sometimes. A side passion of mine is stop motion. I a couple times in my life that I've just felt like totally in the flow is when I am doing a stop motion and just in it, and you're moving one little piece at a time. And emotes are a lot like that. So I'm still trying to get better at them. I think that, I've got a long ways to go, but I
you
love
have the best tutor just below you.
Yeah.
AwedJob is an awesome animator.
Yeah, AwedJob, like watching him work is amazing. But I accept myself where I'm at, and I just try to do like I try to do the best I can with the tools that I've gotten. So right now it's just kind of poses and getting, I don't know, like looking at the body and thinking about what like the ones recently I'm trying to make cute, attractive, sexy emotes. And so like looking into movement and what movement is defined as attractive, as sexy, as cute, and it's going to look different for female presenting avatars maybe than male presenting avatars, or maybe it's not. But I really enjoy breaking movement down into something deeper than it is, because I think we don't even think about movement, but it's such a part of our life that, like, look at how excited we were when we could all sit in Decentraland. Like, what did everybody want to do finally is we wanted to sit,
I wanted to sit.
Yeah, like so excited to sit around. Some new user would be like, wow, these people are lazy, all they want to do is sit. But when you've been standing for 4 years, your legs get tired.
Of course, it hurts after a while. But let's go a bit more philosophical even. What does it mean to emote in a virtual world, Canessa?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think it is absolutely just an expression of who you are. I'll do my, let's see, that one. Yeah. Okay. I love this one. It's like the new greeting a lot of times when I see friends, we immediately stop and like show our digital assets to each other. But I think it's
Okay.
you think about humans, you think about how many ways we communicate. I was a special education teacher and I worked with a lot of students who were nonverbal. But every action is communicating something. And like really humans, we communicate so much through our actions, through our facial expressions, our body movement. And so why would our avatars be any different? Like we can use the same actions to communicate in the real world as we do here. I mean, I don't know, even just her little subtle like hip movement, you'll notice like that wasn't an accident. She's showing assets.
Her valuable assets. What do you think, Nikki, about emotes?
I love emotes. Just like Canessa said, sit was one of those things that all of us were waiting for. And I wasn't even in it for a full year before sits came out, because I can't imagine 4 years of waiting for a sit.
Heels too.
But now that it's like a thing, there's so many different types of sits, and it's great because you can have an emote now for any kind of occasion. It's also kind of like changed the way that people build scenes. So like something now that people are integrating in all of their scenes is, before we had auto dance because dancing was like the only thing that we could do that was expressive. But once custom emotes came out, everybody started integrating a toggle UI to turn off the auto dance so that you can express yourself the way that you want to. And I think that is like a huge impact, not only on the economy, but the way that we build as a whole community. And really like it just inspires people because it pushes the envelope on what we're able to express and how we're able to express.
Yeah.
It also makes wearable creating a little bit more challenging because you have to take into consideration weight painting significantly more now than you had to before. And so there's a lot more testing that goes into whenever you're publishing a wearable. I know I went through dozens of emotes with these set of skins that I made and still didn't get them all 100% because some of these emotes are crazy with their moving of the bones and stuff. But
were you able to update the old ones?
Yeah. So you can, when custom emotes first came out, I think most wearable creators for the solid first 2 weeks was doing nothing but updating their previous wearables because there was a lot of dances that would like break the UVs, or it would separate the body parts and stuff like that. So it was a little crazy there for a while, but it wasn't too much of a hassle to fix and totally worth it because, people like to, again, express who they are, how they're feeling, and being able to express yourself in your favorite wearable at the same time is also really powerful. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing, for instance, even you were saying you are adapting the build to the emotes. I think we could go even further where, because emoting is also a form of RP. I mean, I know in GTA 5, for instance, GTA 5, it's like the biggest RP servers are there. Emotes are the way how people are communicating with each other, pointing, and when they are doing like their role play and creating the entire fictional world, they are using emotes as their primary language model, right?
Yep.
And proximity voice chat. So I think it's really strong, and I'm thinking even further, once all these capacities will be worked on and more smooth, etc., we can even think about buildings where you have specific parts of the building where if you have the emote that fits with the building, you have a very special thing that happens, or you have a really interesting position where you can really role play against the wall, or I'm just really interested in seeing the creative things that people could come up with. What about you, AwedJob, from your specialty of doing animations to implementing them in the Decentraland world?
Well, it's what I was when I first came to Decentraland. I was a little sad that I couldn't do emotes or I couldn't do animations, and that I needed to know SDK to implement them on NPCs in builds that deployed to land, which I also didn't have. And I'm just like, well, why am I even here, right? And luckily, I was able to meet a bunch of people and realize that yeah, there's much more than all that. But when emotes finally came out, I was in Chicago with a bunch of other Decentralites, and we were talking about creating a Decentraland convention sort of thing. So I didn't have my system set up. I wasn't able to buy emotes, so I missed that whole flurry. There was like the hug emote from Studio Sparkles. I'm still like searching secondary for that. But I agree with what you were saying in terms of like role playing and how that's and what Canessa was saying and what Nikki was saying is like it's a way to communicate, right? So much of our message is in our body posture and the subtle movements that we don't draw attention to them, but we definitely are impacted by them. We receive an impact just by the yes, yeah. So yes, to Canessa. Yeah, so it's like the one that is showing here right now. This is the drive-in dance. It's like what do people do when they go to dances or go to dances? I'm so old. When they go to bars or whatever and they go out and they dance, they're just gonna be there and kind of move so they can talk to people. But you don't want to only do the default dance. Like you want to do something different every now and then. So you get a little bit tired of doing that. So
we need more stupid dances like duck walks or something, and then like 40 people are duck walking next to each other. That would be so funny.
So the collection is called Dance Club Favorites, and it's this is a classic shuffle. This is like probably the shuffle that most everybody knows, which is Running Man. But there's also a shuffle called Polly Pocket, which may or may not be coming out soon. Which is it's a lot of fun, but it's a variation on this, right? Instead of moving forward, you're moving back and side to side. It's just it's variety is the spice of life, and it's okay. Sometimes I don't want to have to worry about what it is that I'm doing when I'm dancing, and have to go through. I like the fact that they loop, but yeah, sometimes I want to be able to set it and forget it, and then just talk to people. So this one right here, it's 10 seconds long, and I mean the fact that we could do a 10-second emote, and it would be possible to just load up my whole pie selection chart. You get 10 slots, and if I each had a 10-second looping emote,
that's a really good point.
10, that's 100 seconds, right?
That would be very cool.
That's almost 2 minutes of a dance performance that you could do in Decentraland, and you wouldn't have to say anything. So like I said earlier at the beginning, it's like I'm giving tours to people in East Asia.
Scott, will you be the first Decentraland dancer?
I mean, sure. Yeah.
Performance
absolutely.
dancer. I want to see a full performance by you. There's no way around it now.
Scott, you said that you were looking for the hug emote?
Yeah.
So I sent you an emote a couple nights ago. I didn't send you my emote. I sent you something else. You should probably look in your emotes.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, that's a whole other thing. Don't get me started, but it's like there's just the silhouette. There's no other information about the emote. So as an artist, I have to work really hard to make sure that I get a unique looking silhouette.
That's very interesting too. Yeah. How you do the selling part and
so
attention in the crowd of all the things that happen. Right?
Canessa, you were doing this earlier. You were doing Claire Crypto's Bandwagon Labs. You were doing their ice skating.
Yeah.
How hard is it to find that? Because it's just a person just standing there, right? It's you don't see any of the movement of the ice skate. I've been meaning to talk to Claire Crypto about that. It's like, dude, you got to change the silhouette on your emote. But how hard would it be to have just a cute little animated thumbnail of the emote running through the cycle, right?
Well, and there are limitations to like what you can put on there because you can't exactly move the avatar where you want it to go. And I've tried submitting with just certain parts, and they don't want you to have legs sticking out of it. So between like the limitations that they give us, you know, and hopefully they'll let us kind of organize our emotes the same way that they did our backpack, because I know I go in my emotes and I'm realizing like I already have to clean house again, kind of like I did with my backpack.
So I do want to give a little shout out to Sinful, because I saw his little cat pose in the chat. So hey Sinful, how's it going? Hope you're doing great. And DJ Trax, who said emotes are a lifestyle. I've collected over 100 emotes.
Woo!
100.
That's a lot.
That's crazy. How do you even find them in your inventory? He has to like scroll every time.
I have like 20 and it's hard to find them.
It's crazy. And I'm sure DJ Trax has also a lot of just wearables, so I'm sure he's like completely lost in all the stuff that he got. Okay, very cool. I mean, I really love this conversation. I think we can go on forever, but if we go on forever, Slateful will hit me with, he will be pretty unhappy because we're going over time.
Canessa, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
So...
Maybe she can't hear me. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. So, oh my goodness. I am so happy. I can hug you. Oh, shit. I didn't do it right. Here we go.
Oh, that is awesome. Yes.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. How long would that have been there? I'm so glad we were here today and had this conversation.
I mean, you proved my point. It's like, I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
How long has it been there?
Feedback for the
DAO. A couple nights ago.
We need a filtering system. We need a filtering system for emotes.
You must have thought I sent you one of mine. I sent you the heart.
Oh. Thank you so much. Yeah, no. Oh my gosh. Thank you. That's so sweet. Oh, yeah, let's everybody hug.
I was trying to do a transition. So
sorry.
Let's get into I'm sorry. Let's get into the results. So, what was this contest about? So this contest, you had to do an armor, and I will actually open up the contest description. So we go over the description first, and while I do that, just overall comments. Nikki, if you want to start, what are your overall comments for all the creations that have been made? You were able to see the files. What did you think?
I think it was a really great theme, the whole knight armor. I love that. I love the medieval era. So it was really inspiring to see. And I feel like everybody's personality came through all of their pieces. So that was really cool to see. And everybody's different interpretation of it. Everybody's different style of texturing and modeling and all that. It was really, really cool. I was impressed.
Canessa, what about you?
I really like this one. I am a huge medieval fan. My favorite shows are usually like fantasy, like Vikings, or a lot of swords and stuff. So this one spoke to my soul. I like that there were different takes, because usually when you have armor, it's just usually it's always like male guys in armor. So it was nice to see a little fresh take on it, that there were female avatars with it as well. And yeah, some of these pieces, just the detail, the color, the aesthetic, and just the overall vibe were really impressive to see.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our community, because I think our community is pretty split between male and female creators, and I think that's awesome. And it's very cool to see also the different approaches that they have, and definitely cool to see that even the wearables, there was diversity, and it shows in the creations. What about you, AwedJob? What did you think in general?
Well, what I think about this particular contest here, I gotta lie down. I'm a little tired.
No problem. Take your time.
Yeah, no. I agree with what Canessa has said, and with what Nikki has said. It's one, having something that's fanciful. It gives, I think, a creator some freedom, but you also have to have something to conform to. So it's like everybody knows what what a knight looks like. But then, okay, so like this one's a really good example. It's it got the VR headset and the beer thing. This one's really fresh, and I like the movement that they decided to put with it. It looks great in the builder there as a demo. It's got a unique set of problems with it too that I thought was interesting to see how different people dealt with it. One is that you've got pieces that are solid, right, that are non-deforming, so you can weight those 100% to a bone. But then they have to work together in concert. This one's really intricate, right? So I like how they came up with some creative decisions around the shoulder pieces. Yeah, so and it looks really good in world too. So you've got non-deforming pieces, but then they have to like not pass through each other. It's like if you look at a car door, the side of the car is curved and you need it to open, so there needs to be that little gap in there, but you can't have the gap be too wide or whatever. So it's a really interesting design challenge, and I like to see how people came up with their solution to that design challenge.
And we talked earlier about the problems with animations, right? And I think this is really something where with those kinds of wearables, you really see the challenge. Like everything can clip through.
This one right here, right? So there's a little skirt, and I don't know if this is intentional, but when you see the character running, he's always running away. So I'm like, so there's that tiny little clip where they're running sideways. So they got around it by here it deforms, right? So they've got it weighted, and perhaps in the builder, if you go back to the builder for that one, there's a little bit of clipping or pass through.
We can go into the specifics for each, at least for each one of the 5 winners. I myself am not. I'm not 100% sure, so it will also be a discovery for me because I voted for my favorites, but I'm not sure who exactly won this, so I'm excited to see the results.
Right.
I'm very excited to see it, and let's start.
Yep.
Drum roll with number 5, who is Zubar. Congratulations, Zubar, for the 5th place, and Zubar, who represented SandStorm. That's obviously getting some extra points here. I mean, it's just how it is. What did you think? Let's start with Canessa. What did you think?
I liked the colors on this. I like the cape, having that different take. Just the overall aesthetic. This kind of looked like it was someplace that maybe was a little bit colder. You have got the shoulder pads, but the colors worked really well for me. I like that that brown kind of brought out the blue with the little pops of white. And I love the arm gauntlets. So this one, just the overall aesthetic. If I was going to battle, I would wear this. I would definitely wear this.
What did you think, Nikki?
I like this one. Just like Canessa said, the color was really good. The contrast was spot on. And I liked the way that they placed the logos. There's something familiar about this design, but also something fresh. So I really like that too. Like, you automatically know what it is when you look at it, which is really important in 3D modeling. So I like it a lot. It's great.
And you, AwedJob, I think you were a little bit more on the critique side before.
Well, I mean, it was more of a process thing. I mean, I agree.
I agree
with the aesthetics of it, right? It's not just color and value, but you've got a variety of materials. So it appears that they have some specularity or metallicity on certain parts of it, and then it's more of a matte. And I appreciate that. This evokes more of like a superhero vibe to me because of the cape. And because of the chest, the chest plate, it's kind of like a Superman kind of feeling. But yeah, it's I'm the teacher, so it's like you need to have expectations and rituals and routines, and part of that was you show them you show an animation of the thing, and then you show it in world, and if they didn't have that, well, you're not following all of the of all of the prescribed steps, and it would be interesting to see what this looks like in world, because we all know that the Unity renderer, as the defaults are set for Decentraland, make it look different. And just because your beauty shot, right, or your hero shot, it looks fantastic. Well, I could buy a halo. Canessa, you know about this halo, this red glowing halo, but when you put it on before you had the try-on feature, it was like, you know, that size, right? I mean, it looked like a freaking cock ring, but anyway, it's like it wasn't a halo at all. So you got to be able to try things on. You got to be able to bring it into the world, so you know what you're getting. So anyway, that's kind of like the stickler thing that I was about. I mean, aesthetically, it's a very nice piece. But yeah, it's like you guys have this requirement of, you know, it needs to not just have an animation, but it needs to be in world. So yeah, that was my thing. Sorry for the distraction.
I think it was a really cool build, especially like Canessa and Nikki said on the texturing part, and it really looks very smooth. I think even the assets, when because we got the files look really good too. I just want to give a quick note here. Obviously, just for transparency of the contest, I think it's also good for other contestants to be able to see that the things are being implementable in Decentraland. So obviously we can do testing on our own, but I would please ask for future presentations that you make sure to implement one presentation that shows the actual avatar or the actual wearable design in the game, or in Decentraland, essentially, in that virtual world. Because that way everybody sees, everybody knows, everybody's on the same page, even for external people who are just checking in. And I think it also makes for a really cool look for those assets in those worlds, to see what they actually look like and how they interact with emotes, etc. So just, this is my little note. Other than that, obviously big fan of SandStorm, and the night was awesome. And going to place number 4 with Mr. Juick. Congratulations, Juick. Juick with the golden boy here. What did you think, Nikki?
I love this one. The detailing on the armor plate is really, really good. I love the spikes on the shoulder plate. The glow is just perfect balance. I love it. It's very it's almost like a royal guard. Like it was the highest point in the guard of the castle or whatever. This would be like the one that's in charge. I forget what they're actually called, but yeah, it's like the utmost high rank.
Knights Templar.
Yes.
Templars, yeah. What about you, AwedJob?
I really appreciate how they went beyond the standard forms of the avatar in Decentraland, right? Which I just recently learned that the bone structure is the default bone structure for Unity, just to make it more universal across different platforms for exporting. But if you look at the feet, right, and the boots, those are a lot smaller than your typical Decentraland feet. So, you know, it's like, if I'm always going to draw on a square piece of paper, my artwork is going to be conformed to that square. So I like how they kind of went beyond that. I agree with what Nikki was saying as far as the texture. Unfortunately, we don't get too close in it here, but if you had the models and you could look at the texture, it's like you can tell there's a lot of, well, there we go. Okay, that's a pretty detailed. You can tell just the amount of care. It wasn't an off-the-shelf texture. There was a lot of work that was put into that, so it definitely shows. And I like the subtleties here, like kicking the skull over to the side. And it looks like they were playing around with some atmospherics, you know, so when they stab their thing into the ground, there's the cloud or wherever that comes out. So yeah,
and it's a close combat warrior. We don't see that very often.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Canessa.
Yeah, what I like about this one is the attention to detail. I do cosplay IRL, and I was just at a convention recently, and the riveting here reminds me of a lot of the costuming that I saw, because in real armor, you would need to show those little rivets. If you can look kind of in that part, that would be where the pieces of the uniform were attached together. So to include those here in a 3D modeling, it shows that like they wanted that to be represented. And I just think that goes the extra way, because like at least in my world, steampunk, like it's all about the rivets. And so I appreciate that. I also love the kind of the thinking out of the box with those blades, because most knights in shining armor, they've got a sword, and so to think about how you can change your weaponry, why didn't we go into battle like this 1,000 years ago? I think attaching blades to your arms, I don't know, maybe it would have gone well, maybe not, but I like the thought outside of the box and really paid attention to the detail and made this one happen.
Nikki, do you have some more tips to give to Druid?
The only critiques, or
little tips or critiques, just so
I would say that the weight painting just needed a little adjustment. There are some parts that clip and stuff, but really overall this piece is really out of the box. I wouldn't have expected somebody to go this far with all the details. Like you guys mentioned, those swords are a really cool touch because we don't see that very often. Usually it's a giant sword that's paired with the knight suit, so having those on the side is really, really cool. But yeah, just a little bit more with the weight painting, and I think it would have been really, really, really good.
Awesome. Look at this trick. You got the confirmation from the 3 awesome creators right there. That's awesome. Yeah, I really liked it too. I think it was an awesome build. Okay, without wasting more time, number 3 is Alareds. Congratulations, Alareds. Exactly. Alareds, who is a really good performer in those contests. Every time he comes up with some really cool concepts and presentations and really cool assets as well. Very well produced. Canessa, let's start with you this time.
Well, to start off that animation, I think everything that we do, it starts and ends with good storytelling. So to start off there, what we're seeing right there with a story, with a little bit of humor, it kind of captures you. The wearable itself, to have that sword included, and again, the riveting, the layers on that armor, and even like the fleur-de-lis on the back, they hit the mark. They made it move. They made it real. I think I could go to battle in this, and like even that part in the middle where the top of the torso attaches to the, I guess you'd call it a skirt, but it, that's realistic. And the texturing you can see right there, the chainmail. I'm deeply invested into my armor. I want to make sure if I go to battle, I'm not going to be like walking around like a deck of steel. I need to move. I need to slay my enemies. So I like this one.
You need to win the battle. Exactly.
Oh yeah, you gotta win the battle, definitely.
AwedJob.
Yeah. So the cinematic, I guess I'll call it at the beginning. Really, really nice animation. I agree with Canessa. It tells a bit of a story. It's somewhat of a comical story, and that fits to the proportions of this, right? If you look at the proportions of your Disney characters, where they got the big head and the whatever pear-shaped body or whatever, the oversized hands and feet. So that kind of all fits together. Yeah, it's got a distressed metal look, and I want to point out the buckles on the side, right? Because it's a really important practical component of when you're making something that's fanciful, you can have it attach however you want it to. And Canessa talked about this with the rivets, but it's like, yeah, you had these big sheets of metal, but there was leather on the inside, and you would buckle it together or even tie it with leather. That's what held it on there. So that was a really good shot of it. But this, that's a really well lit piece. There's a little bit of particle animation. They did they did grass. It's like, okay, definitely taking it to the next level. And in world, it looks just as fun. It moves quite well. My big concern about this was the skirt, and I could see in the cinematic that they had weighted it so that the skirt would deform, which is fine, right? You wouldn't you wouldn't have it deform like that, like just like that in real life. But whatever, it's an avatar. So yeah, that would be like my only additional criticism is you need to go back and look at the weight painting of that, because some people may not like that the leg passes through the skirt when it's in world.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I think maybe they would need to discuss with you on the CBD Discord about this, just to go over the things.
Yeah.
I think they could learn a thing or two from that. Canessa,
Come on over.
I think you did. Did you, Nikki? Sorry, apologies.
That's okay. So as somebody who makes promos for all of their wearables whenever they release them, I just have to give extra kudos to this presentation, because I feel like there was a story being told.
Yeah.
And, with the sword flying back and going right by the head, at the first initial thought, you think that it went through his head, but then it changes to the top pan and goes down and starts this whole presentation. I love that. That's not easy to do. And to piggyback off what AwedJob said about the skirt, as somebody who just released a few pieces that have skirts, those are the hardest things to weight in Decentraland specifically, with this armature that we have. So kudos to getting what you did, because it's, again, very, very difficult. I really like the weight painting on the helmet, because in the builder, when he's clapping his hands and the head's going up and down, you can tell that the entire helmet piece is weighted to the similar bones. There's not stretching or anything happening, here. You can see the separation, and that's pretty realistic to me. So I love this piece. This is a great piece.
What I really like to hear is not only is it a knight's warrior kind of knight's wearable, but it's also something that's very cartoony.
Yes.
And I think it changes a lot from all the other ones, where here you really feel like it's such a cute warrior. You just want to hug it.
It matches the environment of low poly.
Exactly.
It fits right in the environment. I love it.
Yeah,
it does. It looks like it belongs in Decentraland, especially. Yeah, good point.
Really, really nice job, and welcome to Ming Fai-chan, who I see in the chat. Welcome, and I hope you all like the work that Ale Reds and all the other creators in this contest do. They are posting it on their respective Twitter accounts too. So really make sure to follow them. They're awesome people, doing awesome things. Let's get to the second spot with. So think about this. This was the third place. Just as a quick note, this is already awesome. Second place, who is Roo, RHOO. Congratulations, Roo, who is a new creator. We never saw them in the contest before, so let's go. Congrats.
So good.
That was very impressive. Nikki,
this is Knight Silvershine, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I'm just, because there's a couple. There's Silver Paladin, there's Knight Silvershine, so I'm just making sure. Silvershine, because I've got notes for all of these when I went through and reviewed them, so thank you.
What did you think, Nikki?
I love this one. The specular that is baked into this texture is actually A1. I love it. It's not easy to bake that kind of reflection, because Unity Engine has a hard time with reflection and specular. So being able to bake that into the wearable is a skill set of its own. So kudos for that. And I love the balance of the contrasting of the colors. There's not a ton of colors here, but they're placed well and balanced throughout the piece, that it's not overwhelming and it's not too mute. And the detailing on that chainmail is insane. I love it. My only critique is that there could have been a little bit more work in the boots or the feet. It feels like everything else is so bulky and protective and stuff, and then you get to the feet and it's just a little bit less. But overall, this piece is amazing. I love it.
What about you, Canessa? What did you think?
Oh, I love this one as well. I think I don't know if it's just my cosplay tendencies, but these are to me because what I do a lot to make certain pieces stand out is have that black and then that the metal and then black and metal, because that darker color is just going to make that that shiny effect, make that stand out so much more. So just that right there is so aesthetic. It's so aesthetically pleasing to me. Just nice clean lines. I seek that when I'm making stuff. And so just this right here, it's again, it's something that I would totally rock, that Yeah, anywhere, going into battle or just walking down the street. And the texturing that you see, it's almost like carbon fiber, I would say. Like it feels like carbon fiber to me when I look closely at it. And so
Do you think you will wear this for battle?
yeah, like I would wear carbon fiber into battle. I mean, it's yeah, like hopefully it would protect me. But yeah, it's down in the like on the back of the thigh and in the front of the thigh, or dare I say the groin area, like the detailing in there with the different textures is really cool. They could have chosen just to use like black. It could have just all been the same, color, but just kind of adding those extra textures there when they didn't have to makes me realize like they put a lot of thought into pretty much every inch of this, outfit. So yeah, kudos.
AwedJob.
I can't really add too much to that. I will say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nikki, but the builder. So there's two different renderers, actually three if you count Blender. But when you bring a wearable into Builder, that uses, I believe, the Godot render, and then when you bring it into World, it uses the Unity render. So those are two slightly different render computations, so they're going to look different. But I honestly think that in the Builder, this piece looks better. I love the details. I love the details and being able to see the work that went into this. Not just the texturing, but the segmentation and how those pieces interlock or interwork together, especially around the chest plate and the arms. But yeah, honestly, I like how it looks in the Builder better. I really enjoy the animated emote that they chose to show off this, because when I think of a knight, I think of very, very static, slow, and staid movements. And the fact that this guy is breakdancing, really puts it through its paces. Just as a bit of constructive criticism, can you pause it on any one of these things without getting too detailed here? Yeah, if you could just pause it on any one of these. Yeah, there you go. So one thing to be conscious of, I like how they're using the geometry to get the different textures in different areas. Just to take it up an extra notch. If you're going to instead of using procedurals, if you're going to use images and you're going to map them doing UVs, to try to get them so that they're proportional. So you can see this like on the chainmail part of the boots, where it's one scale on the left and it's a different scale on the right, and the quads are slightly different sizes. So what you want is you want it to look like it's all wrapped, or maybe they want it to look like this, but if it's all going to be chainmail, you want it to be one uniform scale of proportion of chainmail all the way across. And there's I'm not going to get into it, but there's methods to do that, so that even if you've got one quad that's this big and another one that's that big, if they're both represented by the same sized rectangle on the UV map, well, then the smaller one is going to have a tighter mesh of chainmail, and the larger one is it's going to be more stretched out. So that's just something to pay attention to. I just wanted to mention that because I think there's always room to improve. But yeah, I mean, this is very good piece.
You had so good comments to have nothing to say. Honestly, it's just I really like the asset, and the technicals are super good. So let's get on and go to the final one, the number one, which is somebody that we all know, and it's Yuri BX. Yuri, congrats! I'm not sure if it's your first win or if it's your second, but I think you've been trying to get on top of this podium for some time. So congratulations, Yuri. Always doing awesome builds, and look at this. Look at this. Just looks awesome in game. So cool to see. You know what? You were hot and on fire, AwedJob. So let's get back with you. What did you think?
Yeah. So excellent render and lighting for that cinematic part. It's almost like a different asset when you look at it in world. I would recommend though to you're showing it here in the cinematic in daylight, and perhaps it was just something that was a second thought, or perhaps it was intentional. But when you go to this part right here, yeah, it's at nighttime. I'd actually like to see this in different times of the day. It's again, it's like the little story that's going here. It's like, okay, well, what's going on? I'm gonna check out this sword. It definitely appears heavy. There's that sympathetic motion of feeling the weight of the sword, and then seeing the walkthrough. This kind of evokes a samurai feel to me. So I'm not sure if that was intentional. I actually was just at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts and looking at actual samurai headpieces and stuff like that. So maybe that's where I'm getting it from. But if that was your intent, you definitely succeeded. It's those segments on the leg piece. If you look at samurai armor, they've got those layering pieces. So it's kind of looks like Optimus Prime with the helmet there, but it's like it's just such a nice metallic texture, and then bringing it into world, taking
it's
that
so
asset.
Interesting how different it is, right?
Yes,
it really looks like night and day, and honestly
it is night and day, literally. This is day,
that's true.
and then it's night.
I have so good comments today. I'm really on top. But actually, I might even like it better in worlds. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it does well in both, right?
Yeah.
I think that that's part of the reason why I want to see it during the daytime, because when it's night, you've got some of those muted tones, and I can't see as much detail, because a lot of it goes to a darker value. I mean, there's definitely a glow and emissive glow on that. I like the emissive glow on the eyes. That's a nice touch. But as Nikki said, it's hard to do metal in Decentraland currently, just because we don't have the the budget for it, so to speak. So I can see what you mean in terms of it is somewhat of a different asset in world. I like them both. I don't know that I like one better than the other. I mean, I would love to wear this and rock it looking like this in world, but yeah, that's why I want to see it in the daytime, because I just want to see more detail. You did a good thing in wanting us to see more, right? When you get to the end of a demo reel, you don't want to like, fuck, thank God that's over. No, you want to be like, okay, I want to see more. Send me more.
Maybe you can see more if you buy his asset on the marketplace, right? Maybe.
Okay, absolutely. I'd love to see this on the marketplace, and I'd love to try it on and bring it in world. Yes, absolutely.
Let's get on with you, Nikki. What do you think?
I really like this piece. It is different from the animation to the in-world, but I actually prefer the in-world because it's more of representation of what we're used to seeing in Decentraland. And there's a lot of geometry there. Like those extra paddings on the legs, they're not just like flat surfaces baked on, they're actual geometry. So they were really smart in distributing their polys around the whole mesh to make it well balanced and also three-dimensional. I love it when there's the accents that stick out from the character, and there's a great silhouette. I love good silhouettes, and if you were to place this against a wall and just black it all out, it would have a really good shape. I like that it was imaginative, but also going back to feeling somewhat familiar but having a fresh take on it. And again, I feel like it fits into Decentraland. It looks like it would actually be in a game or something somewhere. I would expect to see this. The glowing eyes are a great touch. Little details like that really bring the whole thing together. And I really like the shield on the back, how it's like the one contrasting color. It kind of like stands out and makes you notice it. I love it. I think it's great.
And the red really works well, even in game. Super nice. Sticks out well. Canessa, to close it off.
Well, I see some, characteristics here that I don't normally see in like knight armor. Those little pokey things on the helmet. And then if you look carefully, the knight's shoes actually have like I would call it a rhinoceros horn. And I had to look up a rhinoceros beetle. And I feel like this artist took some inspiration from nature to make this something just different. It also reminds me of there's a character called the Destroyer from the original Thor movie where they blast like fire out of their helmet, and this totally has those the Destroyer vibes. I love watching this animation, how he pulls it up. The sword is heavy, but if you watch right before he does that, it actually looks like the avatar is walking, like the armor's heavy. And it just makes me think that they put like right there, that armor, oh my gosh, that armor could weigh, I don't know, 100 pounds, 200, like, that would be heavy. So to see them keep that detail in there is really something. The armor in Decentraland, I like to just see how it moves on the avatar. I wish there was a little bit more, like it really, I had to keep, rewinding it and looking, trying to like stop it and zoom in. So that would be another suggestion that, for future contestants, make sure that you include that footage from Decentraland, because that's really what we'd like to see. But I like the little lion on the front and the back and the red color of that shield. So yeah, definitely well done. I'm actually, as I'm watching it, I'm like, how would I make this in the real world? Like, it's fun. I'm like, okay, I can make that.
Awesome. Yeah, congratulations again, Yuri. Such a nice work, and also such a consistent creator. I think they've been one of the most active in throughout all contests. So it's really nice to see how the people improve and how they keep getting creative from time to time. So congratulations, you really deserved it. And I think this closes it for today. It's been our longest show, I think, on those DCI contests. But obviously, what do you expect when you have 3 super high level builders who are giving super good feedback? I'm sure all the people who published assets on this contest are also very happy about the feedback they got, which is the most important thing, is to learn and get better and improve and keep sticking with the community, with what we're doing here. And yeah, I think to close the session, I would like to talk about what you're doing first. Maybe for the Metaverse Fashion Week, because this is the big next event in Decentraland. So for whoever wants to take it, who wants to describe the Metaverse Fashion Week in like a very quick sentence? Who wants to take it? You're
Nikki.
A little bit shy. Nikki. Okay, let's go, Nikki.
Sorry to volunteer you, but
Yeah, thanks. In one sentence, wow, that's hard. I would say if there's ever a time to express yourself, it's Fashion Week. Just because there's so many brands that come out, there are so many supporters that come out, there's new people that come out, there's regular people that come out, there's all types of people coming together to celebrate art and fashion. And you'll never know what kind of connections you make, or what kind of pieces you're going to see, or inspiration. So yeah, I think it's a great event, and everybody should at least tune in for one day.
Awesome. What are all of you doing for Metaverse Fashion Week? Maybe let's start with Canessa.
Well, I am creating a photo, like kind of a backdrop photo shoot area on my land. I have a 9-piece parcel, and so right now I have like 100 different photo shoots set up, and hoping to add more. But for anybody that wants to, that's buying wearables, creating wearables, like, to me, it's all about that. Like, how are you presenting it to the world? And I kind of hate Twitter, but I love Twitter. It's like, that's our vehicle to get fashion and everything in the eyes of buyers. And so hopefully that'll just get more eyes on Decentraland and, get more eyes on creators. I've made a couple emotes, to show off the wearables as well. And I'll be publishing, I guess it's my first wearable with XR Couture, who does a lot with like AR wearables that you can like superimpose over yourself. So yeah,
Nice.
that's pretty much it. And I'll be buying a lot of clothes.
We continue with you, AwedJob. Oh, by the way, before we go to AwedJob, I really like what you said about Twitter and how to advertise yourself to make your work stand out more. I think there was just a comment in general. I'm just leaving it here, and then we can talk about this off camera. But I think there's a lack in Decentraland of a standardized hashtag or something that people are using to share wearables. So I was thinking, because I have you guys here, you know, for instance, we know that in Sandbox, just to give a comparative, it was a really big strategy that they got, where they have like always the same hashtags that they use, and then it basically goes around the entire community. And I think it would be good if we kind of get together and discuss on which hashtag we can standardize, so everybody uses the same, no matter the community you're in, so we can get more engagement on those tweets, share outs, cross community, make more people engage with each other, support each other. I would really like to see this. So open to discuss that off camera.
Shout out to Shelly Van. She came up with the hashtag DCLFam, and so I try to use that, and I think a lot of people, you know, that might be one option.
It's funny because we used the SandFam for hashtag
nice.
SandFam for SandStorm for the other thing. So it's exactly in our branding. That's perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can do this. Awesome. AwedJob, sorry. Let's go.
Here, let me come off mute. So I wear many hats, like most people in Web3. What I'm most excited about is I'm an official ambassador for Lighthouse, and since this year Metaverse Fashion Week is going to be across 3 different platforms, it's going to be in Decentraland, it's going to be in Spatial. Shout out to HiCC and EraX and all the other Spatians out there, and it's going to be an over the reality, which is an augmented reality app that you can have on your mobile phone. So yeah, what I do as a Lightkeeper for Lighthouse is I help onboard people to Lighthouse, and it's Lighthouse is essentially, it's an aggregator. It's a map for the open metaverse across all worlds. So, you know, there's Hyperfi, there's Mona, there's Spatial, there's Voxels, there's OnCyber, there's Decentraland, there's Sandbox. It's like on and on and on. I think I've got over 20 different metaverse worlds that are there, and they have created a special collection of all the metaverse fashion events, and they've got you can jump in. So if you're spending time in Decentraland, you want to see what's going on over in Spatial, just head on over to Lighthouse and hit the events section. You can also sign up in Lighthouse and mark yourself as a Metaverse Fashion Week attendee. And if you go to my Twitter thread, I've got little tutorials on how to do all those things. So yeah, I just wanted to encourage people to reach out to me. I'd love to give you a tour of Metaverse Fashion Week spots in Decentraland, the events and the locations. Specifically, I'm going to be focusing on the Eastern Asian time zone. So Japanese Standard Time from 6 p.m. To 11 p.m., which ends up being 9 a.m. UTC to 2 p.m. UTC. There's going to be an event on Lighthouse about that, and there's going to be, of course, events listing on Decentraland's events page.
Awesome. So excited about your tours. I need to do one day. You need to show me around Decentraland. I'm sure I will
Absolutely. Happily.
100% more than if I go alone. And Nikki, to close it off, what are you doing in the Metaverse Fashion Week?
I have a collection, like I spoke about earlier, that I'm releasing, but I'm also doing a fashion show in the Neo Plaza, which is running every day, the 28th through the 31st at 6 p.m. UTC. It's a 37-minute show, and it's all automated. It's all coded, so everything just runs by itself. And I'm featuring 10 different artists with 30 avatars walking the runway. We've got people like DG, Dabcraft, Doki, obviously, Refraction, Supermind, WJ Designs, Dr. Drip. I know I'm probably missing a few because my brain is scattered. But yeah, you have to come and check it out. It's really great. It's running all 4 days, so if there's only one day you can miss it, you have a chance every day. And then Vroomway is also doing some after parties every day. So yeah, really looking forward to everybody showing up.
Awesome. I will definitely show up. I'll definitely check it out and see what you did. Okay, and this wraps it up for today. Thank you so much, Canessa, Nikki, and AwedJob. It was a great time. I had a great time. I hope you had a great time too.
Absolutely.
And yeah, this wraps it up for this specific show. We will see each other again for the next one in about 10 days. The next one is actually already scheduled. It will be on the 4th of April. And you will see our good friend AwedJob again. We have another lineup that's very exciting. I won't announce who is in there, but you will be very happy about this lineup. Next week, definitely check out the Metaverse Fashion Week and check out all the things that the creators are doing. If you are a creator and you are active on Decentraland or anything and you're creating art, make sure to share it out. Make sure to show what you're doing. You can tag SandStorm. We're helping you out with visibility. That's not a problem. And just a little closing thing, we are holding all those contests on a consistent basis every 2 weeks, bi-weekly. There's a new one that's launching on Monday with a very exciting theme, and I can announce the one after as well, because I think that will be even more exciting, where I want to do a GM focused contest. So basically something where people need to create a custom GM scene. So I'm very excited about that one, and I hope it will have a good turnout. So this wraps it up. Definitely check out the SandStorm site. I think there's a contest going on until Sunday still, so if you want to enter it, you can go check it out now. And thank you so much to the guests for being here today. Bye-bye, and have a great one.